Then WWF Monday Night Raw.
Bro, we got snowed by that
4.
show with
There was one good show.
the second. It was like episode 1 was
Awful.
Yeah, and episode 2 was good.
Yeah.
And then episode 3 had the Loser Leaves Town match. And then this had one thing that was memorable. I can tell you that much. We'll get to it.
We open with Tatanka versus Damien Demento, which is actually a fine 4-minute TV match, actually. Nothing to bury here. So Demento's gimmick is he hears voices. He gets thrown outside, and you may not have picked this up because...
Maybe there was a young Randall K. Orton who watched Damien Demento and thought, someday I'm going to have voices in my head.
Not so much the haircut or whatever that gear he has on is, but the voices I will do. He gets thrown outside, and he looks to the sky, and he's talking, and of course he is not mic'd, and the announcers are all talking over each other, so you may not have heard him. I wouldn't blame you, but if you listen closely, you hear Damien look to the sky to the voices, and Damien Demento says, quote, "I will do what you ask me to do. The Indian will suffer."
Horrible.
He was wrong, by the way. The Indian did not suffer. The Indian beat him up, hit some chops, and a Samoan drop and pinned him. It was a fine from a TV match.
No disrespect to these two guys here, but, drugs and alcohol, my friends, bad combination. Drugs, alcohol, steroids. By the way, I'm not accusing either of these guys.
No, of course not.
This is a general statement for like the 80s and 90s, because you see a lot of these guys, and they're all beat up all to hell, and then you watch a match like this, and you're like, how? Like, they don't do shit. And it's not like they did shit on house shows either. It's not they went and busted their ass on the house shows, and then on TV they took it easy. Like, if this was a TV match, you can imagine the match they did on a house show. This was the most nothing happening, easy, basic. The match was like 4 minutes, and 2 minutes was a fucking chin lock. I'm not sure Tatanka took any bumps. He makes a 2-move comeback and gets the pin. It was like, oh my God. Then you think about the guys today. Like, pick any match on a random Dynamite and, compare that to this Tatanka match here. And it's just, it's incredible when you look at the broken. Now, granted, they worked far, 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 far more dates, but they did nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Wrestling has changed in the, 30 years now? Almost?
I don't want to disrespect the guys of that era, okay?
Yeah.
When I say they did nothing. Like, I say that from a place of love. That's what I'd like to do. Like, that's my kind of match. You go in there, and the best match was when you went in there, and it was an easy match, and, I don't know, you guys, some of you are young, and you don't remember this, but I'm going to pull out my grizzled veteran card. I'm going to tell you about the old days. The old days, and I'm not that old, so it was even more so in the much older days, but do you remember, Vinny, when you would go into the locker room, and you'd see one of your buddies, and you'd talk about the match tonight, you all ready for tonight? And the guy go, yeah, I got one bump. That's what he would say. We heard this all the time.
Yeah.
I got one bump. That's what they would say.
Yeah.
And, you'd go in there and you'd have your match. You do the light handshake. And, when the match was over, you'd hug. And, oh, my God, it was a day off. It was so easy. How many times did we say that? It was so easy. That's the way. And it wasn't to be lazy. It was you were trying to be smart. You were trying to go out there, and you were trying to go in, and you're trying to go in healthy, and you're supposed to try to come out healthy. And it wasn't like you were trying to fuck the fans. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to fuck those fans tonight. I only got one bump. The whole point was, we're going to go out there, and we're going to entertain these people. And if they paid, back then, like $9 for the fucking ticket, we're going to give them their $9 worth, goddammit. And we did. And
speak for yourself.
Buddy and I, we still did some, I did a senton bomb off the top or whatever, and we did a couple flips and everything like that. But still, the point was, it was supposed to be easy. It was supposed to be a night off. It was supposed to be, man, let's go do another show tomorrow. No one's hurt. Everybody's happy. I'm not saying that people aren't happy and not getting hurt today, but I don't think that, your average guy today is going backstage and going, oh, you ready for tonight? Yeah, I'm taking one bump. No one's saying that nowadays. I don't think.
Wouldn't think that's uncommon.
Yes.
Now, the thing I got out of this match was these haircuts on these two men and the investment of hats that they must have. Tatanka with the mullet, with the red dye job on top. Brian, this man had a family. He had to go through airports.
Yeah, bro, but you know what? This man had a family, and he had to put food on the table. Now, and when you have no food on the table, and someone goes, you know what? I'll give you some money to put food on the table, but your hair has to be red. You say, what shade? Right?
Damien Demento has a almost completely bald head, except on the back. At about the midway mark, he's left this...
It's a W.
Blotch of hair.
That he has grown out.
Yeah.
Like if you shaved your head, except you just left a W carved in the back and just buzzed that part, but then you grew out the W. And that's the long hair in his head.
They had to go out in public like this.
Yeah, dude, that was the point. You wanted to be recognized back then. You wanted people to go, oh my God, are you Damien Demento? And you're like, yeah, brother. She might match with Tatanka? On Raw?
Man, it's like I'm there.
We had brief clips from the Headlock on Hunger show. So it's a very nice event they did to raise money for famine relief. And Bret comes out. He's carrying the big oversized check for $100,000 to the Red Cross, and he gets in the ring and he's posing for people. Everyone's cheering, and they brought out the whole crew to surround ringside. This obviously was the end of the show, and like the Beverly Brothers rather and whoever. But Bret climbs up with a turnbuckle and holds the giant check over his head, and he's right in front of all people, Money Incorporated.
Yes.
Doing all they can to raise some cash for the hungry.
Bro, it's not what you make, it's what you save. You think that fucking guy became a millionaire by spending all his money?
I guess not.
No. Probably could write off some of those donations, though.
Oh, what a segment we had next.
Oh, my God. Allow me. Brutus the Barber Beefcake is interviewed by Vince McMahon, and we have been watching a lot of Saturday Night's Main Event, so we've seen a fair share of Brutus the Barber. But I was unaware because we have not been watching Raw, because it didn't exist. But anyway, I guess it's Raw 4, right? So anyway, he comes out, and I think nothing of it until it is noted that you have been gone for 3 years. Because it was, in fact, in 1990 that Brutus the Barber Beefcake had his face destroyed in a parasailing accident, and they thought he was going to die, and they had to reconstruct his face and put plates in it and the whole 9 yards. And quite frankly, they did a fucking hell of a job.
They did.
Because, for a guy that literally had his skull crushed, I mean, he looked exactly the same as he did in the 80s, basically.
And wrestled.
Yeah.
For years.
So he comes out, and he starts out by telling this story about the hardships that he has overcome, and he explains that he had to put his mother in the ground, and
she had cancer. You see,
when he said he put his 85-pound mother who had cancer in the ground, the crowd goes, "Oh!" And then he goes, "I had to put my father in the ground. He had a heart attack." The crowd goes, "Oh!" And dude, he's talking about his dead parents. And because the crowd is doing this, oh, and there's something about his fucking delivery that I'm like, this is not supposed to be like some fucking comedy segment. Am I the only one that was like, you're telling this like it's a fucking joke?
His delivery was 80s pro wrestler delivery.
Yeah.
As he's telling the true story of the great tragedies he's gone through. Mother died, father died, wife leaves him, takes all his money.
Yeah, then you get he goes, my wife left me and she took me for everything I had. And everything that he says, he's saying in such a way that it's like it's part of a comedy bit. And so I think the crowd is thinking the same thing because they're going, oh, but not in like a really, sympathetic way. It's like it's almost a mocking way.
Yes, they were making fun of him.
So I'm like, what in the fuck is this? Is like the worst segment I've ever seen. And I think he was supposed to be a babyface talking about how he was actually going to like fight for the fans when he came back, right?
That was the plan.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now these sensitive New Yorkers, if you listened closely, you could hear one of them when Brutus took a pause. Get over it, bro.
God.
Dude, it gets worse than that. When he gets in the details of what happened with the parasailing accident, his face is crushed. His eyeballs don't work because they're in the back of his brain. His ears still worked fine. And he's talking about how he could hear the EMTs in the helicopter and the doctors in the hospital saying he didn't have much of a chance. And he pauses to take a breath, and you actually hear a human being find it in his heart, recorded for posterity here, to shout out, not making this up, kill yourself.
Yes. That happened.
God.
So somehow, I don't even know how Buddhist kept his composure here. I'd have been slaughtering people.
Here's the thing, Vinny. Here's the thing. And you know this as well as I do about 80s workers. There were a lot of them who were just like, they were gimmicks. Right?
Oh, yeah.
They were always on. And I just watched this and I thought, has this guy been on for so long that he can't turn off? So, like, when it's time for him to actually talk about some real-life horrible thing that happened to him, he can't help but tell the story as Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
This was not Ed
Leslie. It comes off as a bit.
This is not Ed Leslie.
No, this was Brutus Beefcake telling about Ed Leslie.
This was the Booty Man.
God, this was amazing. Not in a good way.
No. So, the first half of this, I'm sure everything he said was the exact truth or very, very, very close to it. And he explains when he reached out for the hand of God, and instead he found the hand of the Hulkster.
God.
And when they took the bandages off...
real dialogue.
Yeah. And when he took the bandages off, and the first thing he saw was red and yellow. And Hulk told him to...
The first thing he saw after his parasailing accident was the red and yellow.
Of Hulkamania, yes.
Maybe Stephanie was right. We need to fucking write promos for these fuckers.
So... Hulk tells him he'll be taken care of. Vince is very concerned, by the way, the liability of this. Should this man get injured again? Should you be wrestling again? And Brutus says, I'm a desperate man. I've got nothing left. Hulkster told me to go for it. After all this suffering, you think a little pain in this ring will make me give up or quit? Not a chance. I have an open contract. I will take on anybody. This segment was revolting.
It was horrible, dude. It was horrible.
So he finishes... thrown a commercial, and Bartlett is trying to say something, and Macho Man knows it's Rob Bartlett. He doesn't know exactly what he's going to say, but he knows it's going to be bad, and he just steamrolls on over him. What a terrible move from Buddhist Beefcake. I love that man. I don't want to see him take these risks. We'll be right back. Just would not let Bartlett say whatever he was going to say. So one of the fun things about these old Raws.
Bartlett's been fine the last few weeks, by the way.
He was terrible in the first show. He's
just there now. He's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He has a couple bad jokes here and there, but whatever. It's an hour wrestling show.
Sounds like this show.
Yeah.
And we have many bad jokes. Non-stop bad jokes. So one of the fun things of watching these old Raws is how many of the guys who were jobbers then went on to be some level of success down the road. What a dream match we had here in this contest.
Yeah, we sure did.
High Energy, the team of Owen Hart and Coco Beware, versus Hall of Fame jobber Iron Mike Sharp and Von Krush.
Von Krush, they called him.
Future Big Vito, SmackDown superstar.
He was small Vito on this particular show here today.
Yes.
Did a job in about 5 seconds to High Energy.
It's been way, 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 way too long since I have seen an Iron Mike Sharp match. I bet Iron Mike Sharp had fun every single match he ever had.
Of course he did.
Is there a louder man in wrestling than Iron Mike Sharp?
You're looking at him.
Not consistently. There may be guys who have like a louder howl or scream or bellow, but no one makes more noise constantly bell to bell. I'm not sure he inhales. He's just for 5 minutes. Eventually he tags in Vito. Vito's gear is too big. He is absolutely terrified. But he gets through everything. He gets through his 2 spots, okay. They whip him in and do a double clothesline and then do the big double drop kick deal, and they pin him. It's fine, but it was wacky. So a few weeks back, we had the angle where Doink tore his own arm off and attacked Crush with it. They do a replay. I don't know when the film JFK came out. It may have been around this time, but I'm not joking. This was a Zapruder film analysis of Doink removing his arm frame by frame and attacking Crush with it. And Savage tells us, word on the streets is that fake arm was filled with lead.
Wow.
Doink the Clown versus Typhoon. Doink's music is the best, and then Doink himself is also the best.
Yeah, he was. He
gets in there.
By far the highlight of the show.
Oh, by miles and miles.
Yeah.
It's Matt Bourne, obviously, as Doink, and there is, with the exception of Bret, there was nobody in World Wrestling Federation 93? 93, January 93. There was nobody in this company doing more or better wrestling than Doink. And he's doing double legs and trips, and he's float overs and smothering. He's just mocking Typhoon there. It's a work, of course, but the way he's doing it, no one else wrestled like this. And he's awesome at it. And short match, he does a diving elbow and sits on Typhoon's belly and grabs him by the tights and right in the ass. He grabbed his tights and pinned him. And so Doink wins. He's outside. He's looking at the camera and he's doing the scary, vacant blinking and then breaks down to a cackle. Doink was so great. Doink was ahead of his time,
dude.
Man.
He was so awesome. The when he walks around and he's standing there next to the ring post, just looking off into space like a fucking creep, and he just beat the shit out of this fucking giant Typhoon, and he pins him, like pulling on his Johnson. By the way, he pulled literally on the taint of his tights.
I wrote grabbing him by the sack. Yes,
the coccyx.
Yeah. He
all of these
yanked on both
that's
testicles
a little farther back,
and pulled.
Yeah.
But anyway, he pins him, and
I'd be pinned too.
You know, Typhoon was angry, but he also had the look on his face like, I ain't long for this place. Like he knew he was fucked when he got pinned by the fucking clown.
He got pinned by a clown.
Yeah,
that
was a natural disaster.
This was a glorified squash match.
And I loved it.
Doink kicked his butt. Doink's elbow drops were fantastic.
Dude, everything Doink did was
Everything
awesome.
he did was great. He did great takedowns, and he's doing he's a chain wrestling clown. Wrestling. And Vince is talking about he's a great wrestler. That's right, he is a wrestler, Vince McMahon. He's a fucking wrestler, Vince. And a great one at that.
Who did they end up replacing Doink with? I mean, Matt Bourne with?
Something Apollo was his name.
Well,
Ray Apollo or Phil Apollo?
Ray Candy? Or was that a different guy?
I don't know. He was not as good.
No.
And sadly, I don't think Matt Bourne was long for the role of Doink. But while he was there, he was great. Great. Vince McMahon interviews Todd Pettengill to plug the Mania show on Saturday morning. So Todd, of course, is a professional radio guy. He goes right into shill mode. Says, we're going to have a guest this Saturday morning who has been wreaking havoc in the WWF. And Vince pulls the mic back and says, that could be anyone. Vince on these
Ray
early
Apollo.
Raws. Ray Apollo.
God, he's played by 50 different people, it says here.
Steve Lombardi did it at one point.
Matt Osborne, Steve Kern, Lombardi.
Steve Kern, yes. Yeah.
Ray Apollo, Dusty Wolf, Mark Starr, Ace Darling, Eugene.
Of course.
Jeff Jarrett, Men on a Mission.
Jarrett did it.
And the Bushwhackers
Jericho.
is the Four Doinks.
That was not great.
Yeah, Chris Jericho.
Frankly, it stops being great as soon as Matt Bourne leaves.
Yes.
But anyway, Vince's understated comedy on these early Raws has been a surprising treat. So the anyone in this case is Giant Gonzalez, who Todd notes is 7'8". He doesn't say 8 feet tall. Even 7'8" is an exaggeration. He was really, really tall. But anyway, so there you go. Everyone tune into Mania to see Todd Pettengill interview Giant Gonzalez. Speaking of giants, Andre the Giant has passed away.
This was actually really nice.
This is a very...
They mentioned he was an all-time legend. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned this or not, but when Brutus the Barber Beefcake, when that segment was going to start, it actually began with Vince McMahon in the ring saying, we have a special interview tonight with an absolute all-time great of professional wrestling. And I thought, who the fuck's he talking about here? And then he goes, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. What all-time... And then he said the same thing about Andre the Giant. I did not classify Andre the Giant and Brutus Beefcake as kind of at the same level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there seems to be a gap there.
But they introduced the video or the thing, and they did the 10-bell salute, and they had some pictures, and it was very nice.
And you got to remember, 1993, a lot of people probably heard about Andre's death for the first time from Howard Finkel.
Yeah.
Here on this announcement.
Yeah.
And they had a little video. It was understated. It was classy. It was very, very nice.
It's amazing that this was on the same show as that.
It really is, actually.
That interview with Brutus, the Beefcake.
Yokozuna versus Bobby DeVito.
Okay. Match itself, squash, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently they're going to be feuding Yokozuna with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Okay. Right. Hacksaw, horrible wrestler. But you know what he was? An incredible promo. And you know that a man is an incredible promo when you call him on the telephone, and on the telephone, with a extremely limited frequency response, he manages to have the promo of the show by leaps and fucking bounds.
He did.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan's promo on the fucking telephone. He has no idea Yokozuna's name. And
I thought it was Granny.
When I first heard it, I thought, is this some borderline racism here? But then I realized he actually doesn't know the guy's name. He called him Yokozuna.
Yokozuna.
Yeah, he had no idea. And Vince tries to correct him. And he didn't know, he didn't care what the guy's name was.
His exact response was, whatever you call him, some Japanese name.
Yeah. And so he cuts his promo on the guy, and he I'll be damned if I'm going to lose in my country, blah, blah, blah. And he's out of it, screaming at the top of his lungs as Yokozuna's getting the pin. I just thought this was an amazing promo by old Hacksaw. On the phone.
Probably a landline, at least.
Oh, sure.
Everyone had landlines.
Well, of course it was a landline.
Cell phones.
What, do you think it was a cellular telephone in 1993?
Invented. Paul E. dangerously had one.
It was a mobile phone. It's different.
I see.
You know, most of the time when they do these, you can tell it's them in the studio. I truly believe that
of course he was at home.
They called Hacksaw
in Glens Falls on the it's a hotline, like the red light blinks when Vince calls him. He called him Yokozuna. He's cutting this promo, and the whole issue here was the reason there was an evil Japanese person running around is because in the early 90s there was a great controversy about how people in the U.S. were buying a lot of Japanese cars and Japanese products, and people in Japan weren't buying so many American stuff.
True.
And, God, remember the good old days when the great international conflict was a trade war?
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds so cozy and quaint. Oh, that'd be awesome to have. That'd be the biggest problem in the world these days. So, the other note here, of course, Bobby DeVito is another future ECW personality bringing all the baldies in on the show. So Vince interviews Money Incorporated. He says,
it was a great promo.
Gentlemen, well, eventually.
Not sure it was as good as old Hacksaw, but it was pretty damn good by Biasi.
So he says, gentlemen, you requested yours this time. What do you have to say? And Biasi begins to recite Humpty Dumpty, the nursery rhyme. And he blows it.
It was actually funny because Paisley was watching some show where like they just sing a bunch of songs. You know, these shows for kids.
Sure.
They sing songs and everything. And we moved up to my office because I had to clean this place up after the debacle that was Observer Live today. And so as I'm watching Raw on my phone as I bring her upstairs because I'm behind. And so I'm watching it, and as I'm trying to get her show going, all of a sudden Ted DiBiase starts telling this nursery rhyme or whatever. And Paisley stopped, and she just listened because it's like one of her songs. And she was very intrigued by the delivery of the $1 Million Man, I will say. So hopefully it's not her first memory of wrestling. I hope she forgets it tonight.
So as DiBiase notes, Humpty Dumpty sat in a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's men and all the king's horses. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, he's changing it up. He's just thinking about how they couldn't fix the place where Beefcake's blood courses. What's he going to finish this with?
The armed forces.
He stops and says, couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. He just screwed up the line at live TV. So they watched Beefcake's promo. And yes, they admit it's a pretty sad story. But when you got your face smashed, they must have knocked a screw loose. 3 years away from this ring, you come out here, you issue an open challenge. That is a slap in the face to men like us.
I wonder if he even meant to say that because, like, he did have metal plates in his face and there were screws.
Oh, they laughed at that line. That was okay. Heel comment.
I'm surprised they didn't cackle at a slap in the face. That was good. That was a good line.
So they say you can start your comeback. You can start with a champion. You can take your choice out of the two of us. And they decide instead, nah, we'll flip a coin. And DiBiase, he flips the coin, and it lands on the back of his hand, and he slaps it down. And he looks at Irwin, says, heads I win. Irwin agrees. And Ted peeks at the coin. All right, I won. And he puts it away. Irwin is skeptical of his own partner because they're all dirty bastard heels. They don't even trust each other. At the end of the day, they're just going to fight Beefcake, so they agree with it. Out comes Jimmy Hart. Now, at the time, Money Incorporated was tag team champions, and Jimmy was still managing them. So you're not this. I guess this right here is the start of the Jimmy Hart babyface turn that lasted the rest of his career so far. So he wants to know why his men are wasting their time. You guys are the tag team champions of the world. You have nothing to gain by wrestling Buddhist Beefcake. What happens if you get hurt in this match? And now they're offended. You think we're going to get hurt against Buddhist Beefcake? If anyone gets hurt, it's going to be him. And they bury Beefcake for a while. You're a tax cheat like everyone else. You said your wife took everything. You only have one asset left, that $1 million face. And we wouldn't do anything to harm that, would we? And Jimmy Hart's still frustrated, and he drags them away. Making his Raw debut, the Narcissist Lex Luger.
We talked about this match earlier. I don't know what more is to add. Absolutely fucking boring, nothing happening, lazy match.
He comes out, and first he just poses for a long time. They have a mirror in the ring. He's posing and admiring himself.
He's got muscles.
Playing faux classical music.
He's got abdominals and latissimus dorsi and deltoids.
Pectoralis major.
Trapezii.
Yes.
Great.
So the whole show, they have ring girls before and after the break, and they're young ladies in very, very skimpy bikinis holding up signs that say things like, steak tartare is raw. I don't know. But for Lex's segment, the ring girl is what in modern terms we would call a BBW. She's thick.
I'll say.
And Lex is appalled. This is the woman they have sent out to hold up the I don't even know what we call it, the ring card for his segment. He's disgusted. We go to break, we come back. Now, this is 1993. Mr. Perfect's been around for years. So I'm not sure if this is a new segment or if they just happened to randomly re-air this from when he debuted.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
But he's there with Steve Jordan, all-pro tight end of the Minnesota Vikings from the NFL. Talks about great Vikings quarterbacks like Warren Moon and Fran Tarkenton, but neither of them are the perfect quarterback. That would be Mr. Perfect. And so Mr. Perfect starts throwing passes to Steve Jordan here. And, of course, every pass is right on target. Perfect pass. And Steve's very impressed. And Perfect says, I got one more trick. And I remember this happened. Mm-hmm. I forgot how fantastically wacky the whole thing is.
Well, it was great because you have something that you remember in your mind, and then you see it, and it's totally different from what you remember.
Yes.
I remember that he shoots and then just starts sprinting. Or no, throws. It was football.
Yeah.
So that's what I pictured in my head.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
But instead, what actually happens is he takes his football and he tosses it and he stands there. And I thought he ran after the ball. He stands there and he looks over and he winks or whatever, and then he starts sprinting. So he actually, I'm like, how fucking high did you throw this ball in storyline? Like, did you throw it over the moon? Like, he fucking waited an hour to start running. Then he runs over and I was like, oh my God.
So it's all
where is this great shit nowadays?
This is exactly what happened. That part's right. As soon as he starts running, it's all in slow-mo. Mm-hmm. And here's the ball in the air, and here's Mr. Perfect running. And here's the ball in the air, and here's Mr. Perfect running. And his music is playing, bomb, 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 bomb. And he's not even running that fast, honestly. He's doing a light jog, straight in super slow-mo, like his Chariots of Fire. And there's also, they keep cutting back to Steve Jordan. Very good football player, very bad actor.
Yes.
So they keep cutting back to that face over and over. And Perfect catches his own pass, and Steve Jordan is so impressed. Like, I remembered this and how awesome it was, but it was so much wackier and so much greater than I remembered.
It was awesome.
Sadly, we go from that to Lex Luger versus Jason Knight. And yes, it is that, Jason Knight. So we are told Beefcake is expected...
This wasn't very hardcore.
No, there's nothing extreme about this.
This was very not hardcore. This was softcore wrestling.
No.
That's what it was.
I've seen that too. This wasn't that. So we are told Beefcake has accepted DiBiase's challenge for 2 weeks, as it turns out. Vince is plugging other shows in the USA Network, and I guess he's doing a read for Quantum Leap. I don't know if you read this before. I think Vince has thought this was a great name because he gets to the star of the show and he says, "It's Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula." In Vince's voice. It's just awesome.
I'm surprised Vince never gave the guy a name Bakula.
So Lex does a running elbow and then a standing elbow and wins with his pinky on Jason's chest.
This was the most... I could not even believe this. Like, I couldn't even fucking believe it. God, the first time you ever see Lex Luger on Monday Night Raw, and it's that. Like, not even an impressive squash, not even a couple of cool moves. Just walk and pose. And then there was that one spot where I think he clotheslined the guy. Yeah. But I'm actually not sure because the guy looked like he bumped too early or Luger didn't touch him or whatever. And Luger looks down at the guy and then he looks around at the people and he goes, "Not like that." Like something went wrong. Something went wrong in this match?
Yes.
God, horrible.
They had vignettes for this guy for months, and he shows up and puts in that performance. Man, it was sucked.
Yeah, this was a bad performance here.
And then after the match, he decides, I'm going to grab this Jason Knight guy. I'm going to give him a giant swing. I guarantee you, Cesaro could take Jason Knight and with one arm do a better giant swing than this. He did like a revolution and a half. It looked like he was off balance the entire time. It was much better, much worse off for having done this giant swing after the match. So yes, this was a bad...
It was the shittiest fucking giant swing. Like, oh my God, I've been watching Cesaro get this move over, and Luger, you couldn't done a slower... You know, Luger was like one of those people that your kid wants you to spin him, but like you're old, so you spin him like 3 times and you're gonna barf, and the kid's like, more, and you don't want to do it. Luger was like, I got 2 spins in me, or I'm gonna barf. He spins around 2 slowest fucking spins ever. Let's go with the guy.
Are we certain Jason Knight actually left the match?
Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad.
That's the main event. So next week, Raw is preempted for, as they put it, the dog show. They didn't plug it the American Kennel Club or whatever, just the dog show. 2 weeks from tonight, though, there will be a 16-man battle royal, and Brutus Beefcake takes on Ted DiBiase.
So yeah, that's it, everybody. That's your show.
You know, that show was not boring, honestly.
It wasn't boring. I would not call this a horrible show. I would call it a show.
It was a bad show.
Some was bad, but you know what? Some of it was like memorable. Some of it was fun. We got doink. There was nothing offensive about the high energy match. You know, it was fine, right?
It was all right.
I think so. Yeah. I think it was fine.
Yes.
High class. All right. Raw 5.
We watched WWF Monday Night Raw Season 1.
Shows are fucking horrible, but they're worthwhile.
February 15th, 93. They are a fun kind of wretched.
There's a lot we can say. What in the fuck was going on with these fucking microphones? Listen, I've been doing this shit for a long time, okay? So the story was that one of the microphones, one of the headsets was not working. It's Vince and Randy Savage.
And Rob Bartlett.
Yes. Okay? And at first, Randy Savage's mic is allegedly not working. So far be it, I'm not in charge. I'd have taken Rob Bartlett's headset off and given it to the Macho Man Randy Savage. But that's not Vince's idea. Macho Man then starts doing commentary on a fucking telephone.
Yes.
What? Your microphone doesn't work, but you have a telephone?
At ringside, apparently.
What? This was so fucking dumb. And then later, they actually give the Macho Man the headset. And then Bartlett's on the phone. And it's just like such a fucking clown show. And then on top of that, the opening match is the Steiners. And what were their names, Vinny?
That'd be Glenn Ruth, the future headbanger, and Bobby Who.
Bobby Who. Okay. Mm-hmm. Vince is just, as soon as they say the guy's name, he goes, "Who?" And then we have a whole match of Vince acting like he doesn't know who these jobbers are. And, I think the show was taped, but I'm watching this show thinking, this is Monday Night Raw. You ever seen they do those anniversary shows? Oh, 25 years of Raw. Oh, Raw 1500 or whatever. oh, the granddaddy of them all, the longest running episode. This show that we watched tonight was Raw.
It actually was. I think about it.
I mean, fuck. That's not my point, Vinny.
Yeah.
My point was this is the legendary Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
It was 3 geeks fucking around without a mic, making jokes about the talent, completely half-assing it. And that's giving them a lot of credit, by the way. They half-assed it. Just a joke of a television show.
At one point, there was an argument going on about the microphone, but you could clearly see Rob Bartlett just sitting there at ringside, not saying a thing.
Yes. It's like the show was taped and they had to redo the commentary, but Randy refused to fly in.
Can you imagine the fucking commentary? And that's not what happened, Vinny, because later they actually had Savage on a headset.
I don't know what happened. Right. It was all very odd. Like, there's no logical explanation.
It was low rent trash. That's what it was.
Wow.
On national fucking television, this stupid gimmick they had.
Their A show.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think it was the A show at the time. That was probably Superstars.
Probably was still.
Because every time there's an angle, they go, let's go to Superstars.
That's true.
To see an angle.
That's true.
Then we'll come back to shitty matches and bad commentary.
So Brutus Beefcake vows to prove he's 100% healed tonight.
Yeah. Way to go, buddy. You know what you did, Beefcake? You failed. Another babyface. Left in a heap. Coming off the real Raw on Monday.
So then DiBiase and Jimmy Hart are cutting a promo. And DiBiase promises that by the end of the night, Brutus Beefcake's face will be the least of his worries. And we mentioned on last week's review about how even though it was a deadly serious subject matter, Beefcake was still getting a Brutus Beefcake promo. Jimmy Hart here is trying to show signs of being a sympathetic character, but he can't help but be the mouth of the South. I don't think that's necessary. There's no need for that, baby, he says. I laughed. So the 2 matches promised tonight are Brutus Beefcake versus Teddy Biasi, and what has to be the shittiest 16-man battle royal ever. We'll get to it. But God, that was awful.
That's what they promised.
Yeah. Not in those words. But by the end of the show, that was the message that was clear. So it's the Steiners versus Glenn Ruth and Bobby Who. And if you think I'm joking, the announcers were talking when the jobbers were introduced, and Vince says, Bobby Who? And nobody answers him, so Vince just rolls with it. Bobby Who! And there's Who's on first jokes and whatever. So Bobby Who is out there.
Are you sure they gave him the last name Who?
No! Vince did.
Okay, so I wasn't crazy. They gave the guy a last name. I thought it was like Bobby Blaze or something. And then Vince goes, Who?
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't know the jobber's name?
Because they were talking over it.
I know, but fuck. And then he starts calling him Who, like he doesn't know who he is the entire match.
I never heard Bobby Blaze. I only heard Bobby Who.
I know they had a last name. I didn't write it down. But then Vince goes, Who? And so then you tried to tell me that was his actual last name, Bobby Who.
Who am I to question Vince McMahon?
But he didn't say his name was Bobby Who, Vinny.
He called him Bobby Who the entire match.
I know. He was like, Who? Not that his name was Who. Like, who the fuck is this in my ring? I'm like, you tell me, you're the fucking commentator. But he didn't know.
So I'm going to call him Bobby Who. He's in this ring, and he has gear. He's got like a pink and black singlet and boots, whatever. And over his singlet, he's wearing a pair of black trunks that are like a totally different fabric, and they don't match.
Yeah.
I can only imagine that he showed up with a singlet, and they were like, they didn't leave enough to the imagination. They said, put these goddamn trunks on over your singlet right now. We're not putting you on TV in that gear.
You look like a broke-ass Owen Hart.
Yes. So we've been watching these Raws, and it's Tatanka, and it's Damien Demento. And then the Steiners come out, and it's dragon suplexes and overhead belly-to-bellies, and Scott, who is not as big as he would later get, but he was a big dude, whipping out this perfect drop kick. Like, what were these guys doing in this company? They were so much better than everyone else athletically. They beat the hell out of these dudes, and there's lots of jokes about Who, and the microphone's not working, and the Steiners pin Who with a bulldog.
Luckily, the Steiners were great because I was ready to turn this show off. Everything else about this was horrible,
Yes.
But luckily the Steiners were wrestling. Braun Breaker Sr.
Yep.
And his brother Scott kicking ass here in the ring. It was a fun little squash match. I will give them that. And one of these suplexes dropped this bloke right on his head.
This is the very first one, too.
Oh,
the first move of the match is the stiffest thing in the match.
It was funny because Glenn Ruth got in there and he locked up with Scott. Scott gives him a hip toss, and And Glenn grabs the back of his trunks and motions like Scott was pulling his trunks. And Scott no-sells it. The ref comes over and asks. He no-sells the ref. This was all an annoyance, as if to say, get out of the way, I need to destroy this geek.
Mm-hmm. And
then
it did. With ease.
Apparently even Cage Match has it listed as Bobby Who.
Aha!
Whatever.
We have our WrestleMania 9 report. So this is, as Gene notes, it's Valentine's weekend as we're doing the show. WrestleMania is not until April, so we're like 6 or 7 weeks out. We've already started the reports. And this, of course, is the show from Las Vegas, and they show the Vegas Strip in 1993. It is different!
Yeah,
Dude, it's different every year that I go.
Yeah, this is like 100 years ago. Look at this year. And by the way, I've stayed in one of the hotels that was in the shot that has since been torn down. And boy, did it deserve to be torn down. What a great decision that was.
Which hotel?
The Westward Ho.
Dude, we went there together.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
I forgot. I was
I took you.
so focused on the misery that I forgot who was with me.
Yeah, I forget how I got a free ticket, but we went together and
Did we do the timeshare gimmick?
it was something. And
I
they
did a
gave
bunch
us-
of those.
They gave us free drinks or whatever, but there was no alcohol in them.
Probably.
That was a gimmick.
Yeah, the whole thing was a
You
gimmick.
can have as much liquor as you want, but there's no liquor in the liquor.
We went in March in 2018, and then I went back in September of 2018, and it had actually changed more.
Yes.
I think we went in 2006, if I recall correctly.
Sure.
It was 2005 or 2006.
So, Gene explains, of course, this 1990s version of Vegas where they say it was used to. I forget exactly what he said about how it used to be a adult playground. Now it's synonymous with family entertainment. As it stands now, he says, Bret Hart versus Yokozuna will be the main event because, you see, they still have 6 weeks of house shows. They want you to go pay money to see Bret defend the title and not just assume he's going to win every night and get to Mania as champion.
I did like when they said that Caesar's Palace was fun for the whole family. I was like, what in the fuck would Hanley and Paisley do at Caesar's Palace?
Not a lot. They never had... I was thinking of the MGM, never mind. So the 3 matches they advertised at this point for WrestleMania are Yokozuna versus Bret Hart, Giant Gonzalez versus The Undertaker, and Crush versus Doink.
Oh, dude, it closed November 2005, so we must have gone in early 2005.
Yeah. Just giants. There's only 3 matches. There's giants in every one. That's my point. One of those giants then wrestles
It's like
here.
modern day Raw.
Oh, giants?
There's just fucking giants everywhere. It's all I care about is fucking giants. Who cares about giants?
When you see him every week, not many people, actually. Yokozuna versus Ross Greenberg.
This was a very enjoyable little squash match, and
I'll say.
they Yokozuna just did a lariat or something early and just fucking killed this guy. And you actually heard this crowd audibly gasp that somebody had been killed in front of their eyes. Even back then, people just wanted some good violence.
Yeah. So Yoko destroys this poor man. Pins with the bonsai drop, and both before and after the match, he is doing these sumo poses, and the announcers are just clueless. Even though he's clearly a sumo wrestler doing a sumo gimmick, wearing sumo gear, they have no idea what this pre and post match ceremonial stuff is.
I was just laughing that we're watching this fucking match, and they go, "Let's go to clips from Superstars."
Yeah,
there was an incident this weekend with Yokozuna and Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah, they aired this after the Yokozuna match.
Yes.
It's very strange to me.
So they go to Superstars, and Yokozuna's there in the ring, and Mr. Fuji's got the Japanese flag, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan's got the American flag, and they're fucking waving their flags at each other. Like, it's 1993. This war ended in 1945, and we've got an America versus Japan war on Raw in 1993.
It was all about...
And the fans are chanting, USA!
It was all about cars.
I
Too many
know, but
Toyotas
it's fucking
and
ridiculous.
Nissans, yes.
It wasn't a real war.
I'm aware.
The actual war
Yeah.
was fucking 50 years earlier.
Yeah.
And they're making Pearl Harbor references.
Yeah.
And I will say the one good thing about it is they have played up that Yokozuna has never been taken off of his feet. And they do this basically a sumo match.
They basically had a sumo match. There was a ref in there counting falls.
They
Which is
stand
not in
across
sumo,
from
but
each
you know.
other. They run at each other and they bonk into each other. And Hacksaw runs at him and he gives him this big lariat. and Yokozuna, all he does is he stands there, but he goes, oh, and he shakes his hands. The fucking crowd.
Yes.
And this, I know they did crowd swinging at the time, but this is an example where you can see this fucking crowd. They're on their feet for this.
Yes.
This guy's waving his arms, they're going, oh! And then Hacksaw gives him another one, and he goes, oh! And the crowd's going totally crazy, gets his bounce back. And then finally Hacksaw hits him with a third one. He doesn't fall down. He goes, oh! Oh! And finally he takes one bump, and this fucking roof blew off this place because Yokozuna took a bump. I was like, my God.
Yes.
And just the way that he sold getting hit was so fucking cartoonish. Like, it's not like Ishii, where, you hit him really hard and it's believable. This was a fucking cartoon. But because he'd never been taken off of his feet, they shot this angle on Superstars, and it had to go across the WWE television network. They had to air it on Raw and Superstars and fucking Body Stars or whatever, the WBF. Every show had to have this clip of this American knocking down this Japanese man and finally taking him off his feet. That part was actually great.
This actually did look awesome, and I wish we could have seen the whole thing. It would have been better than anything on this episode of Raw, for sure.
Well, listen, Hacksaw's not a great worker, but he is a fucking incredible hacksaw.
Yes.
He's a great promo. Like, even last week, that fucking stupid promo he cut on the phone, it was still one of the best promos I'd heard in forever. And he goes out there, and his gimmick is that he is an American. And for these American fans, he's going to take out this foreigner, and these fans just eat it up. And he knows exactly what to do, and Yokozuna knew exactly how to sell. It was actually a great professional wrestling moment that could be recreated in any era. But it's not anymore.
When Hacksaw hit him on the third time, and Yoko started windmilling his arms and wobbling back and forth, when he finally hit, grown men jumped out of their seats and were pumping their fists in the air like their team had just won the Super Bowl. It was incredible.
So
America had won, Craig. America was victorious.
I saw Midway. I know how it ends.
So Hacksaw celebrating the ropes. Yokozuna infuriated of being humiliated by being knocked over, grabs the bucket of salt. And you mentioned the grown men leaping to their feet when Hacksaw won, but I was even more enthralled by the children trying to warn Hacksaw. Behind you! He has a bucket of salt! And they're screaming and pointing. But Hacksaw was oblivious, which is believable. Mm-hmm. And he turned around and Yoko threw the salt in his eyes. And
what happened?
He threw
What happened is the announcer said he'd been Pearl Harbored.
Of course they did.
In 1993.
Of course they did.
God.
So he bonsai drops him and drapes the American flag over Hacksaw, and bonsai drops him again, and Hacksaw stretchered out, and we had a quick promo from Mr. Fuji, who is not noted for being a good promo. I believe he won Worst Promo of the Year a few times in The Observer. This is a pretty great promo here. It's short and to the point, but he's just talking about how you dare to face Yokozuna, and what happened? He squashed you! He definitely did.
Now, the funny thing, well, it's not funny, but it was a nice touch. Yoko had done the bonsai drop on Hacksaw draped in a flag. And when they stretchered out Hacksaw, the flag was crumpled in the ring all by itself.
Oh.
And they showed a shot of the crumpled up flag in the ring.
America's been wounded.
Oh, my God.
Dude, and all they did was, it was a hard cam shot, and they, as slowly as fucking humanly possible, like a glacier, they slowly zoomed in on this crumpled flag. And I was like, is Done on vacation? They should have had 85 cuts to this fucking flag. We had one uninterrupted shot, which was a fucking awesome shot, by the way.
Yeah.
But we never see that anymore.
So this recap of an angle on Superstars was far and away the highlight of Raw.
Yep.
So it's time for the Battle Royal. But before we begin, Vince McMahon must let us know.
What a fucking... By the way, that was 2 baby faces left laying and buried on this Raw so far.
Okay.
And that's coming on the heels of last night's Raw that I just watched, where in 3 hours, every single solitary segment involving a babyface ended with the babyface getting his ass kicked and laid out or beaten. Now it's continuing here. And then, what does Vince say? He goes, well, the 15th entrant or whatever in this battle royal was going to be Giant Gonzalez, but every one of the other men in the battle royal refused to compete. Sounds like they formed a union. They refused to compete, and therefore Giant Gonzalez will not be in this match. And I thought, you buried every fucking one of your baby faces. What a bunch of cowards.
You buried the baby faces, you buried the heels, you buried the match.
At least the heels can be cowards.
Yes.
But your baby face, they got like,
Tatanka
Tatanka in there,
Tatanka.
Tito Santana.
Yes.
It's like,
Owen.
who used to be my hero? Now you're afraid of a tall man in a fucking costume? A stupid Bigfoot suit? Terrible.
So that's the setup. Now, to show why everyone's so afraid of Giant Gonzalez, we have another angle from Superstars. It is supposed to be...
what an angle.
It is supposed to be a 3-on-1 handicap match with 3 geeks versus the Giant. None of the geeks wants to fight, and so Giant grabs...
Louis Spicolli.
Louis Spicolli,
Yeah.
by that name, by the way. And he yanks him into the ring, and he actually did a choke slam,
Yeah.
which is a more advanced maneuver than I remember Giant Gonzalez ever doing. But he did a choke slam here.
Well, I think he held on to Spicolli's neck, and Spicoli just leaped really high.
Still!
And fell on his back, but
I mean,
still, it was...
and it looked fine.
yeah, it was fine.
So the other 2 dudes are now, of course, even more scared. They flee the ring in terror. And do you remember that one angle with Nexus when they were running away and Wade Barrett was in the back of the pack and passed everyone?
Yeah.
That happened here. One of the jobbers passed the other jobber running up the aisle in terror from the Giant Gonzalez. Like, one guy was like, all right, I'm far enough. I can slow this down to jogging. No, the other guy says, fuck this. I'm running. And he ran to the back. So the 16 cowards go out there for this battle royal. The bell, they're all just standing at ringside. The bell rings. They'll hit the ring. At which point, I believe it was Randy Savage says, quote, look at this. What a mess. So the first,
I was going to say, everybody dove into the ring except Shawn Michaels.
well, he got in there eventually.
The smartest guy in the match.
The first 10 minutes of this, I swear to Christ, nothing happens. The highlight is Kim Chi repeatedly hitting Kamala, fleeing the ring under the rope, hiding on the floor, going back into hit Kamala, repeat. This goes on for a long-ass time. So I didn't write down all 16 dudes. A lot of the eliminations happened either during the break or off camera. And there's like 3 guys thrown out. Now at a 13, and Vince cries, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. So there's like Typhoon and Skinner and Coco Beware, Damien Demento. So finally, Kamala throws out the Berserker. But then Kim Chi throws out Kamala. Kamala is enraged. He hits the ring and throws out Kim Chi. They're both eliminated now. And for the next 3 minutes, we don't see the ring at all because Kamala is chasing Kim Chi through the crowd over to the concession stand, and eventually they'll go to commercial break.
Bro, this Kamala, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, big guy. Mm-hmm. They had this guy having to walk over chairs to get through the crowd. You know how easily he could have slipped, broken his ankle, broken his leg, fallen through a chair? How many times I've been to a show and someone tries to walk over the chairs to get their seat and they fall right through and almost kill themselves? They did not care. They just had him running through the crowd on these chairs. That was a hazard. So when we come back for commercial, there's 7 dudes in the ring. But we go back to watching Kamala chase Kim Chi for several minutes, and we go back, there's only 5 guys in the ring. So the 2 eliminations we just missed because you're watching Kamala chase Kim Chi. Our final 4, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, the bad guy Razor Ramon, who were both heels at this point if you lost track, and Tatanka and El Matador Tito Santana, who are both baby faces. And so we have, of course, meetings. The heels coordinate a plan. The baby faces coordinate a plan. Vince is still... I was totally confused because I was like, Razor Ramon is a heel right now?
Well, wait till...
I knew Shawn Michaels was a heel.
The way this is booked, I don't blame you. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Before we do, Vince is still talking about Kamala. He has chased Kim Chi apparently through Times Square. And Vince mutters under his breath, if he goes into one of those theaters, he may never come out. I laughed. So what happens here with these final 4 guys in this battle royal is that I don't know what happened to Razor. He may have been shot, but he disappears.
No, he just went through. He went to the bottom rope and waited outside.
All right, well, Shawn Michaels, the evil Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, the most arrogant guy on the roster, is fighting 2-on-1, getting his ass kicked, trying to overcome the odds. For like 5 minutes, And then they just throw him out.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels eliminated from the Battle
What the
Royal.
hell was that?
What was his Battle Royal even for?
I don't know.
That's what I was confused about. I'm like near the end, and Shawn Michaels gets thrown out, and I'm like, God damn, it's going to be like one of these three? Because actually, I didn't even see Razor at the time, so I thought, it's going to be Tito Santana or Tatanka winning this Battle Royal? For what?
I don't know.
And then Razor, well, as we'll get to.
Razor starts to fight 2-on-1, but it's all a setup anyway because the guy who everyone was afraid of waits till there's only 3 guys left, hits the ring. Giant Gonzalez comes out.
So he's the coward.
He is also a coward, I suppose. Yeah.
He's a coward.
Didn't want to fight fair. Gets in the ring, and listen, I know we've talked about this 1,000 times every time he's been on here, but what were they thinking with the bodysuit? How do you... They made the 7'6" guy look silly. So he does some stuff. He throws out Tatanka. He throws out a Matador. Razor is rolled out of the ring again. Giant Gonzalez roars, ah ha ha, I've cleared the ring. I'm the big scary giant. And he leaves. And Razor gets back in the ring and is declared the winner of the Battle Royal by default.
Yep.
And I wrote in all caps, what a shitty Battle Royal!
This was horrible. You know the thing about these Battle Royals? I just hate these Battle Royals so much that at this point, if you're in a WWE Battle Royal, you're a geek in my eyes. And I'm watching Shawn fucking Michaels and Razor Ramon. Oh, God.
I do remember one Battle Royal. It was the period when Michaels and Cena were tag champs. I think they were ordered to defend their titles in the Battle Royal, but in the Battle Royal, and all the ECW guys know this is my one chance to do anything with Shawn Michaels ever. And he's in the corner, and they're just coming to him to get punched one by one. It's just awesome. It was better than this Battle Royal, I'll tell you that much. Main event is Buddhist Beefcake versus Ted DiBiase. So for about, I guess only went 4 minutes. Before those 4 minutes, this was, I would not say good, but it was intriguing because they were protecting Beefcake entirely and especially protecting his face. So he didn't do one bump in the entire match until the very end. And there's a point where DiBiase never threw punches, never threw a clothesline, nothing to the face. There's a point where DiBiase grabs him and goes to do the face in the turnbuckle. And there's another moment where the crowd goes, oh, they all gasp. He's going to break his face. And Beefcake blocks it and takes over. So it's intriguing for a while watching this. And then,
dude, if I ever have to have a first match back again, I want it to be against Prime Ted DiBiase.
Sure.
Holy smokes, what a performance this guy. He made Beefcake look awesome. Mm-hmm. And the psychology was great. The match wasn't all that good, really, but I thought DiBiase did a great job.
And then IRS just comes out and hits Beefcake in the back with a briefcase.
I was flabbergasted because I'm watching this, and they do the introductions, and there's 10 minutes of TV time left. And I'm thinking, well, this DiBiase's really good, but fucking 10 minutes for Brutus Beefcake? And they went like 3, and then there was a DQ. So I was expecting Sonya Deville and,
You what?
Adam Pearce to come out and say, we ain't ending the match like this.
Gotcha.
But instead, it just ended. I'm like, what the fuck are they going to do for 7 more minutes? By the way, for those keeping track, that's 4 segments with baby faces where they were beaten and or humiliated and killed at the end of their segment.
Yep.
So I've watched 2 WWE shows in a row, 25 years apart, where every segment involving a baby face left them dead, beaten, pinned, or humiliated, or all of the above.
Yes.
So, Hex, or what's his name? Beefcake wins via DQ. But then they kill him because they're heels.
They're
and he's
assholes.
babyface.
So, yeah.
They grab the briefcase, and DiBiase holds Beefcake. I was expecting Beefcake to move.
I was certain.
Yeah.
I was certain
hit
Beefcake would dodge. They do the rematch with IRS next week, and then he gets hit with the briefcase.
They waffle Beefcake. This is taped, so they edit in this horrible noise of his face cracking. And they hit him with this briefcase. And Beefcake goes down, and he's selling this face like,
He's wailing.
He's remembering what happened when he got hit with those knees and that parasailing accident. Yeah. He's screaming, he's crying, he's wailing. Vince McMahon is like, he's holding the pieces of his face together.
Yeah.
There's blood all over the canvas. Randy Savage is like, make sure you get a shot of the canvas. We got to see it. They show the canvas, and then he goes, I didn't see any blood on IRS or DiBiase. That's got to be Beefcake's blood. And they're playing this up like, Beefcake's career's over. Like, he had one comeback, he got his hand raised in a DQ win, but then his face was reshattered, and you're never going to see the guy again. They put him on the backboard. He's holding his face. They're all being, be very careful with his face. They cart him off to the back. Vince goes, all right, they talk about the blood. Yeah, we'll be right back. Go to commercial, they come back. Vince goes, Beefcake's up and walking around. It's going to be fine.
His exact words were...
What?
I know.
What?
They spent like 10 minutes...
I watched 7 minutes of violence and blood and his fucking face being held, the bones of his face being held together. Now you tell me he's all right? What a fucking waste of time.
A giant
God.
Vince's exact words were, Beefcake is going to be okay. He may have a broken nose or whatever, but there's no major damage. I'm not making this up. That's what Vince actually said. He may have a broken nose or whatever, but there's no major damage.
The more I watch of this, the more it's like there was 4 good years of Raw in the 26 years or whatever this fucking show's been on the air, and that's it. That's it.
They did such a good job with the angle before the commercial.
What did they do that for? Do you remember the Warrior barfed and they strung us along for 13 fucking weeks? They showed it over and over, and that was just barf. That's not a guy's face that was shoot shattered, getting work shattered here.
Right.
It's like 7 fucking minutes. We come back to commercial. He's fine. Buy your tickets when they come to Seattle. He's going to get his revenge on DiBiase.
They did such a good job. They didn't even... there was no... Beefcake didn't gig or anything. It was just blood on the canvas. It was a liquid on the canvas. Yeah. And they did such a nice job with it. They covered his face the whole time, and then it was just null and void 2 minutes and 2 seconds later.
Yeah. So the other part of this is the Jimmy Hart Babyface turn. They teased it last week in the opening of this show, but he is begging his men, please don't hit this man in the face with a briefcase. And eventually they throw him down, and he covers Beefcake's body with his own and is willing to take another briefcase shot to save Beefcake. And eventually Money Incorporated just wave him off, and they leave and cackle because they're very mean people. And they zoom in, and the red smears in the mat, and I guess these guys are smooth criminals. They left bloodstains on the carpet. And then Vince makes his announcement about how Beefcake's going to be okay. He may have a broken nose or whatever, but there's no major damage. So he's running down the card for next week, which of course has 2 matches. The first one is Money Incorporated will be in action. I wouldn't be surprised if Brutus Beefcake is there too, Vince says. And then of course he adds, it wouldn't surprise me if Hulk Hogan showed up either. Which reminds me, we didn't mention this. They kept mentioning that the Beefcake has a tag team as partner of Hulk Hogan and God. They're talking about a great tag team that would be.
They're a shitty tag team. Don't you guys know God was defeated in his one WWE match by Vince McMahon?
God has never won a WWE match.
No.
That's true. And the 6-man, this actually could be fun if they just let it be a match. Tatanka and the Nasty Boys versus the Beverly Brothers and HBK. Mm-hmm. That could be fun.
That's next week?
That's next week.
Yep.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
About 2 weeks for us.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So, regardless.
I'm not watching this on the cruise.
No?
No. I'm not watching
You'll have
Raw
nothing
6 on this Disney cruise.
Better to do on this Disney cruise. You'll be missing Raw, I'm sure, watching your children play with princesses and Goofy and whatever else is on there. Well, anyway, everyone, that's Raw. Thumbs down.
God, watch Disney buy WWE on Friday. Oh! Anyway, that is it.
That is it.
Anyway, let's get this Raw show over with so I can go to sleep.
Well, it won't take long because 3 things happen on the show.
Yep.
It is, we watched WWF Monday Night Raw, episode 6, February 22nd, 1993. The first thing that happens is you turn on this pro wrestling show here on the USA Network in 1993, and Rob Bartlett insults pro wrestling fans. You, the viewer, have been insulted by one of the commentators. He says you can't spell.
Yeah, this Bartlett's kind of starting to grow on me a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Really? No.
Yeah, the first episode, he was just over the top trying to be way too funny.
He was far, yes. He is
now
never
he's
that
just
bad
like,
again.
every now and then he'll just say something kind of funny.
No.
There was a tag match Okay, this actually was funny, but he didn't mean it to be funny. He meant it to be funny, but it was funny not for the reason that he meant it to be funny. But anyway, there's a tag match. They go to commercial, and they come back, and Rob Bartlett goes, they just started wrestling again. They've just been standing there during the break. And I thought, they've actually done that before. He didn't even know it. But anyway, I thought it was funny.
There were
Am I the only one?
times. Yes.
Yeah.
He's sitting next to Vince McMahon. I'm sure Vince gave him the side eye.
Vince hired him.
Vince hired him, I guess, because he must have been. I know he's something IMA show. He must have had some kind of notoriety, but
Sure.
I'm watching this show, and he's a wrestling announcer who hates pro wrestling.
Yeah.
He thinks wrestling fans are stupid and can't spell. He thinks
Brother,
most of the wrestlers.
it's not his fault. They fucking hired him.
Fair. That's fair.
What do you want the guy to do? That's what he
But,
knows.
I'm also here to give you my critique of the show as a viewer.
Well, my critique as a viewer is, did he make me laugh? Yes. So
Well,
he
he did not-
accomplished his role.
Well, he did not make me laugh. He did a Schwarzenegger impression of the show.
That wasn't funny.
No, it wasn't funny.
Impressions are rarely funny.
That's
I've
true.
noted.
He likes to make bad jokes about the fat guys and the fat women, in fact. He doesn't like it when guys go out of the ring. He's like Granny watching a show. Why are these guys fighting out of the ring? Now there's too many guys in the ring.
But he said it was the reason it was funny was because he said it with such sincerity. Like
Yeah.
it broke down into a Pier Sixer, and he goes, "Too many guys in the ring, right, Vince?" Vince didn't know what to say because there were too many guys in the ring. The ref wasn't doing anything about it. I thought his delivery was funny at spots.
See, I didn't.
And he stays out of the way for the most part. The first show, he was just all over
The
the
first show
place.
was absolutely by far the worst. He has not been nearly
he's
as
out
bad
of the
since.
way. He says something funny here and there. It's kind of like Craig.
Who doesn't?
Thank you.
Craig is much funnier
Yeah.
than Rob Bartlett.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not going to argue that, but they play the same role.
All right, that's fair.
I know my place, okay?
Loudmouths scream and yell like complete idiots. One guy's a madman. The other guy's also a madman. Randy Savage is so normal on this show because
Relatively
Bartlett's
speaking.
a crazy guy. Vince is a crazy guy. So all of a sudden, this guy that used to be a crazy guy is now like a normal guy. Because like
Randy Savage. voice of
Bartlett
reason.
there, Vince goes, I hear we have Arnold Schwarzenegger on the phone. And they go to Bartlett, who does this horrible Schwarzenegger impression. And then, he goes, it is Austrian voice, see you later, or whatever. And Randy Savage just goes, see you later. Like he's just saying bye to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like a totally normal guy.
Well, I can actually imagine Randy Savage doing that.
I mean, I guess, but he used to be the Randy Savage.
I'm aware.
Now he's just a normal dude.
No, but
Kind of is.
He is the
On
most
commentary.
of these
Did you
three.
see what he
He's
was
the
wearing?
closest to normal.
Well, I'm not talking about his outfit, but like his calling matches. He's just like a normal guy. Vince sees a 2 count, he calls it a pin. Then he insists it's a pin. He got him. No, he didn't. Yeah, he did.
He does.
Vince, he didn't.
He tried to-
I guess he didn't.
He tries to gaslight himself. Yes.
Yeah. God. It was like a cliche back in the day where Vince would go, 1, 2, he got him. No, he didn't. On this show, he took it to another level. He's like, oh, he got him. And he clearly didn't get him. And both announcers are telling Vince, no, he didn't get him. Yeah, he did. He got him. He's insisting. And he actually didn't get him. This show was just, it was something else.
We open with Bam Bigelow versus Scott Taylor. And yes,
Yeah.
that is the future Scotty Too Hottie.
He was not too hotty here.
Well, no, he was too mullety. But
It was just Scott.
but he was still, even just getting squashed by Bam Bigelow, he was still better than half the crew.
He was very competent, yeah.
Yeah. He did, though, on the electric chair bump about break his head open. That looked no fun at all. So this is not his fault, not Scotty's fault, but Bam goes up for the top rope headbutt, and he's a long way away. And he looks down at Scott, and Bam went to the wrong top rope. This is Bam's fault. But he can't like climb down. It's live TV. So the good news is the director figured out what's going on and cut to a camera like behind Scotty. It was a very like New Japan camera angle, honestly. So Bam does the big headbutt, and all you see as a viewer is that he lands on the mat, and it looks like he lit a headbutt. But I suspect in reality he came like a foot short, because Bam pops right up, does a falling headbutt, and then climbs up the correct turnbuckle, does another diving headbutt, and wins. Live TV. What are you going to do?
Funny thing, too, is before he went for the first headbutt, he actually looks back to see where the guy's at, and he decided that he could make it,
I see.
and he didn't. And they had to go make it on the other side.
We've all
I can't
made
tell if this show was taped or not.
I certainly hope it was not taped. They left that in there.
Well, I hope it's not taped based on the last 2 minutes of the show. Stunning incompetence if you pretend it's real.
So, speaking of mistakes, Vince McMahon interviews Hulk Hogan in Hulk's very first appearance ever on Monday Night Raw. When this backstage interview segment, he is decked out in black and white, already teasing joining the NWO.
Dude, I was so tired watching this show that Vince, he goes, we're going to have an interview with Hulk Hogan. And it's a brief, they're both sitting in a chair. And Hogan is actually Terry at this point. He's Terry.
He's very
Bollea.
much Terry, yes.
He's out of character. He's, and
blatantly scripted.
Vince goes, Monday on Raw, you're going to return and you're going to talk to the people. And I'm like, fuck, we're in Raw territory already. Like, my brain told me I was watching Superstars or something. Because he's talking about Raw like it was another show. But it turns out he interviewed Hogan about an interview that was going to happen later on the same show.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, whatever.
It was like a preview to the interview.
And then Hogan did the whole interview about, there's these I forget the term he used.
Tabloid terrorism.
Tabloid terrorism. They say all these things about you that aren't true, and it doesn't matter as long as it boosts them up. And
yes.
But then later he admits, he goes, I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes recently. I made a lot of mistakes dating all the way back to Little League.
He did say
I was
that.
like, what the fuck happened in Little League? Like, I don't want to know, but that's kind of weird. And then he keeps going on, and he goes, there used to be the 4 commandments of Hulkamania. Now there's 5. You'll still say your prayers. You'll still eat your vitamins. I guess because kids ate the vitamins back then. You didn't swallow them.
Flintstone chew.
Yeah. You'll say your prayers. You'll take your vitamins. You'll, what was the other one?
Train.
You'll train. Yeah, train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins.
Believe in yourself.
And believe in yourself. That's right. And he goes, and the 5th one, I was like, I got to hear this. He goes, you'll believe in Hulk Hogan. I'm like, that's a commandment now? I don't even think one of the 10 commandments is, you'll believe in God.
To be fair, he's talking about being a Hulkamaniac. If you're going to be a maniacal follower of Hulk Hogan,
I guess
believing in Hulk Hogan,
but fuck, isn't that
like a reasonable demand?
But bro, isn't that like presumed?
I don't know.
God didn't have to put "Thou shalt believe in me" as the first commandment. Because if you believe in him, then you believe in the commandments, and vice versa. That was the 5th commandment. You will believe in Hulk Hogan. I thought, man, what a narcissist.
I have so much to say right now, but I'm not going to.
Don't, Craig.
I love it. I love it that throughout this interview, you could believe everything Hulk Hogan was saying, except he kept referring to himself in the third person.
Well, yeah. He wasn't Craig. He was Terry talking about Hulk.
Whatever.
2 different people here.
I suppose so.
As we learned in the trial, because as he said, Hulk Hogan does not have a 10-inch penis. So that's what he said. That's what he said during his trial.
Okay. Thanks, Craig.
Look it up.
No.
Never mind.
Absolutely not. There's a 0% chance I'll look that up. I just like that. There was one line.
No, Josiah, it's "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." Isn't that the commandment?
Yes.
Well, yeah, that means it's a given that you already believe in God. The first commandment is not "Thou shalt believe in me." It's "Thou shalt." It would be like if Hogan said, "Thou shalt have no other Hulksters other than me." I forget how it goes. Before me? You can't believe. I don't know.
Move on, Vince, please.
I just like that.
Yes, Josiah said I was correct.
Hulkster here. He did say that you can publish whatever you want, whether it's true or not, but he never outright denied anything. He simply said the Hulkamaniacs do not dwell in. They dwell in positives, not negatives.
Bullshit.
That's what he said.
They boo the heels. They call Earthquake fat. I was there as a kid. Just seen the signs. Horrible.
The Nasty Boys and Tatanka versus Von Wagner's dad and Von Wagner's trainer and Mike Enos.
You know, I noticed. Whichever one is Wayne Bloom. Which guy is that?
The blonde one.
Von Wagner's dad.
I know that.
Taller
Which
one.
of these two Blakes or Beverly or whatever? Is it Bo?
The taller one
Bo.
with the clean-shaven one.
Bo
yes.
Beverly
I believe so, yes.
is the father of Von Wagner.
I have
okay?
made that observation 6 times in this match already.
I know, but my point is this. He actually has somewhat of a brow ridge. You notice that? It's not like
Are you suggesting that a man looks like his own son?
well, yes, but also, you know, Von Wagner's brow ridge is so prominent that it raises questions. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But then
Think
I
it's
then I
think that
see his
implants-
father. I didn't say what the questions were, Vinny, but I mean, it does raise questions. But then you see his father does have somewhat of a brow ridge, but nowhere near to the level of Von Wagner. So I still have some
That's
questions,
true. That's
but it's clearly his son. Yeah.
So a very basic story. This match went forever.
Oh, my God. This was the one where they went to commercial and came back and
Yes.
he made the comment about how they were just resting during the break.
Basically, yes. So we're 6 weeks into Monday Night Raw. They're still fucking up the uncut, uncooked, uncensored line. They can't.
Oh, now it's a bit. It's a bit.
That would make me feel better, honestly.
Yeah.
So, okay. We watched these we were doing Superstars reviews a year or two ago, and the Beverly Brothers were on there every week. I assumed the gimmick was that they were the Beverly Brothers because they were from Beverly Hills.
Same.
That's why they're bleached blonde hair. And they
No,
had the
their
jazz
last
and
name is
those-
just Beverly.
Yeah, they were from Shaker Heights, Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah. They're just Bo and Blake Beverly.
Baffled. Okay.
They're the Beverly Brothers, Vinny.
two dudes from a Cleveland suburb who like to wear purple outfits. Okay, then.
I imagine him rolling down Rodeo Drive in a convertible and buying stuff.
Yeah. So they get the heat on Brian Knobbs, of all people.
You know you can get sympathy on in a match like this. Brian Knobbs.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about this match, too? Brian Knobbs and Shawn Michaels fucked up a spot. And I think it was Shawn Michaels' fault.
Might have been.
Because they're getting the heat on Knobbs forever. And finally, Shawn puts his head down for the backdrop. And Knob boots him, and he falls down because he's going to go make the tag. But Shawn gets in with his boot, and he goes up like this, but he stands on his feet. He doesn't take a bump.
I see.
So then Knobbs is like, you're supposed to fall down. So Knobbs gets back to his feet. They have a brief conversation. Shawn puts him in a headlock, and Knobbs shoves him off, and they bunk into each other, and then they both go down, and he goes to make the tag. So I think Shawn actually fucked up by not taking a bump there.
Could be.
Yeah.
So finally, Tatanka gets the hot tag. He finally gets his hands on Shawn. He hits a Samoan drop, but the Beverlys break at the pin. Here's where Bartlett, you thought he was funny. Bartlett very much got on my nerves, complaining about pro wrestling essentially being pro wrestling. He doesn't like the show. Why would I want to watch a commentator who doesn't like what he's watching? So eventually it comes down to Shawn and Tatanka in the ring again. Shawn goes for his suplex, and this looked like a big, giant, heavyweight version of a very basic, but an Omega spot. Shawn goes for the suplex. Tatanka goes over his back and turns into a sunset flip and pins him. So Shawn is the Intercontinental Champion. Apparently this is the second time Tatanka has pinned him, and I think that ends up being the match at Mania, if I remember right.
This reminded me of a spot that Buddy would have tried with somebody who was no good. Because Shawn's going for this suplex, and bro, he stood there for a long time. And he lifted, and the dude in Tatanka goes up heavy, and then Tatanka has to adjust and go down his back and pin him.
Shawn is carrying Tatanka around the ring as Tatanka tries to go over Shawn's back.
And they pulled it off.
Yes.
They pulled it off in the end, but I wouldn't have tried that with that Tatanka.
If you asked me why I like pro wrestling and I could only use a GIF form, it would be right after the hot tag was made and Tatanka's in the ring dancing and Shawn is begging off. That's everything I love.
You don't
about
want that
pro
man to
wrestling.
start doing that dance, Craig. 'Cause
No,
you
if
know
he
trouble's
dances-
coming.
Somebody's gonna get hit.
Every time Tatanka dances, somebody gets their ass whipped right away.
Oh,
Someone gets got.
Someone gets got. Yes.
that's everything I love about wrestling right there.
So this show...
I more loved the great athleticism of Shawn Michaels. That was what really made me love pro wrestling here in this match.
So this show, we've had a Bigelow squash, a Hulk Hogan interview, and this never-ending trios match. Literally, the show is half over. We are 24 minutes into a 47-minute show. They plug Mania coming to Vegas. They call this number. They say call this number for tickets, and the number is not blurred out. Did anyone call it? See if it's still active. Can you still get tickets to WrestleMania 9? It's probably the Caesars.
Should I call it?
Caesar's Palace.
I may call it.
The only match they plugged is Bret Hart versus Yokozuna. Did you write it down?
No, but I got Peacock here on my phone.
I see.
I got the cock here on my phone, Vinny.
I'm sure you do.
That is weird that they didn't blur it.
Yeah.
Why?
I bet it's just the Caesar's Palace ticket office. They want you to call and buy tickets to whatever they're selling
They
now.
still have the same number all these years later? Let's find
Why
out.
not?
Might. It was an area code in 7 digits.
They did have an area code for sure? Mm-hmm. All right, let's see here.
It's just a nationally broadcast show, man.
Season 1. Oh, God, I got to scroll all the way this way.
See, this is why I thought it was a terrible idea.
Well, Vinny, you know what this show's all about?
Terrible ideas and acting on them.
All right. Oh, and of
That's the
course, I
Christmas
have
show.
to turn the phone sideways. I don't have an option here on Peacock. All right, where was this 20 minutes in? It's right after the Beverly Brothers?
Yes, it was exactly halfway through the show.
All right, here we go. There it is. Yeah, look at that. All right, I'm going to call it. I won't read it here on the air.
No, don't do that.
Let's see what it does. This should be interesting, huh?
No?
Apparently I called some woman on the Christmas show.
Yes, you did.
Who was that?
No idea.
That was weird. Let's see what happens. If it plays the WrestleMania music.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Better not be like a porn line. That's a horrible phone line, by the way.
You have reached the Do Voice automated attendance system. Please dial the extension number now or hold for assistance.
The what?
Was it WrestleMania 9? Hit 9.
It hung up on me. Guess it don't work no more.
You can no longer get tickets to WrestleMania 9, everybody.
Ah! They told me it was going to be the event of a lifetime.
Your life is still going.
Yeah.
Get a lawyer on the phone.
You know, WrestleMania 9 wasn't.
The event of a lifetime?
No.
Sean Mooney is outside the
It was a
building. Monday Night
shitty
Raw.
WrestleMania.
It was. Sean Mooney is outside the building here, the Manhattan Center, where people are gathered outside on the street because Hulk Hogan is inside the building. This makes no sense to me, but it's what happened. Crush versus Terry Taylor. This is where we get the...
God, Terry Taylor. Dude, you know, we used to watch those old Crockett shows, and there'd be some bloke out there, and he'd be wearing a pair of trunks, and there's just like 3 stars, and we always talked about this. Like, this guy went to...
You always talked about
Yeah,
it.
this guy went to some fucking person, and they're like, I want some wrestling tights. Oh, what do you want me to look like? Put 3 random stars. You know, my favorite constellation, the triangle, whatever. So anyway, Terry Taylor's fucking tights. It's red tights, okay? He's got a T, and there's the top part of the T, and then it goes way down and across, and so that makes the Terry and the Taylor with the Taylor underlined. I'm like, fuck, that guy probably went to some guy at Boeing. Was like, can you make me a really fucking cool, aerodynamic looking logo? My name's Terry Taylor. Oh, weren't you the Red Rooster? Oh, no, brother. It's going to be way better.
So when you read it, it says Terry Taylor.
Yeah, basically. I think there might have been another line, but it was stupid.
Boeing, you say.
You know. I'll never forget when I used to teach gymnastics.
Terry Taylor. Terry
guy-
Taylor is an awesome gimmick.
The guy that
He's
ran...
just heard all the time.
The guy that ran the place was an engineer at Boeing. He just didn't work at Boeing. He was an engineer. He built airplanes. So I was there one day just fucking around because I didn't have anything to do. I've thrown this paper airplane, and he goes, let me show you how to make a real paper airplane. I was like, all right. So he gets this piece of paper. He starts folding this fucking paper up. He folds it in half, and then he folds it this way, and then he cuts it here, and then he folds this up here, and he's explaining all this shit like, oh, this is going to help with drag, and this thing here is the whatever thing on the plane, and he lifts this thing up, and it's this big fucking complicated thing, and he takes it and he goes, whoosh, and this plane goes straight fucking down into the ground. It didn't go 2 feet before it plummeted into the ground. I thought, you're making fucking airplanes?
You stepped on my joke for that.
I did. That's a true story.
Terry Ayler. He's a wrestler that has a bad time at everything. He's always ailing. That's funny.
That yes. Was what I stepped on?
Absolutely.
I used to work at this gymnastics place. I'm going to tell my joke again. That was fucking horrible. God. Where's Rob Bartlett?
You owe him an apology.
God. Yeah, Vinny, you need to apologize to this Bartlett.
I was mistaken.
God.
I was mistaken. Anyway, well, here's Rob doing his impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger, which comes off as much funnier after hearing Craig's joke.
Thank you.
And
I missed 2 weeks for that.
They had a match. Crush makes his comeback. No one really cares. Crush
and then he squeezed him to death.
Yeah.
Wait, kill him.
No, that's what he did, Vinny. Don't tell me otherwise.
He squeezed him into
grabbed his head and
submission.
he squeezed.
Yes.
And he submitted him. Stupid.
His brain goes out his head.
I got an idea. You're going to be Kona Crush. Yeah? Yeah, your move is going to be a crush. He's going to crush their heads like a coconut. That's his fucking gimmick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stupid.
A show Money Incorporated breaking Beefcake's face again. And again, they do this. It's so weird. They want you to believe in this angle, but they also, at the same time, kill the heat totally dead. They show this guy who had his face broken, getting his face broken again with a briefcase, and then Macho Man assures us, Brutus only had a broken nose, but the intent was still there.
Yeah, then they show the footage and Beefcake's on the ground. He's crying.
He's whimpering and wailing.
And you're like, you just had a broken nose.
Yes.
And you're crying. Not to say a broken nose wouldn't hurt, but this bloke was crying like his fucking... I broke my fucking orbital bone. I didn't cry like that.
Did you know Nick Wayne broke his nose while you were gone?
I heard.
That sucks. Okay, so Vince interviews Hulk Hogan in the ring. And Hulk, of course, was in Venice Beach. And this is not a Terry promo. This was a Hulk promo. He's watching
Oh, yeah, he's total Hulk Hogan mode here.
outstrut the $1 Million Man and out-wrestle the $1 Million Man.
The multi-million-dollar man, Vinny.
Pardon me.
He always calls him that.
Yes. When that no-good IRS snuck out from the back, and they hit him with a briefcase, Brutus got the crush of all times in his face, Hulk says. The noise was so loud on my TV, I had to turn my head. I knew Brutus's face was crushed into 1,000,000 pieces, but Brutus is okay. I don't get it. He says his nose is a little crooked. He just looks more like a wrestler now. He wants to thank two people for saving Brutus last week. The big man upstairs and Jimmy Hart. Because Jimmy was the one who threw his body on top
He's
of
the
Brutus.
little man downstairs.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, never thought of it that way, but I guess that's what you just called him. All right. So
I didn't mean it like that.
I'm just saying what you said.
Pervert.
So anyway, Hulkster here declares himself back in the WWF. He first order of business is to right the wrongs Money Incorporated tried to do for Beefcake. He calls Brutus out. Brutus also thanks the Hulkster. He thanks Jimmy Hart. And they say they're going to take all of Money Incorporated's assets, starting with the manager. I always thought Jimmy Hart was yellow, but it turns out he's red and yellow. And he brings out Jimmy Hart, who's all Hulkamaniac'd out, and he's their manager now.
Bro, this is so, like, you watch wrestling nowadays, and some guy goes babyface to heel, but they still act like they did before. They go heel to babyface. There's never... This Jimmy Hart comes out, and he goes, all my life I idolized you, Hulk. All I ever wanted was to wear that red and yellow. I mean, total 100% 180 from diabolical heel that used to hit people with his fucking megaphone. Now he's a die-hard to the core Hulkamaniac.
He says he believes Hulk and Brutus will be the greatest tag team of all time. Can't win them all, Jimmy. Can't win
All
them all.
time.
Yeah. He vows to take his vitamins, and Money Incorporated, you better start saying your prayers. And so Hulk says, DiBiase, IRS, what you gonna do when the Megamaniacs, that's what we'll call ourselves.
Thinking on his feet, that Hulkster.
He knew they were going to come out and unite here and challenge the tag team champions, and never thought to think of a team name until right there live on air. And so they're the Megamaniacs. They challenge the Money Incorporated, and Hulk flexes forever. And there you go.
So the interview segment here that we just talked about, this kicked off at the 14-minute mark of this television show.
Yes.
And I thought, okay, these two guys, they can't possibly talk for 20 minutes. What? There's got to be a main event, right? So they talk and 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 they talk, and then they start flexing and the segment's over. But there's 4 minutes left. Mm-hmm. Vince goes, "We'll be right back." So I think they're gonna come back and he's gonna flex for 4 more minutes. So instead, they come back and the Undertaker,
yes,
is making his way to the ring. There's 4 minutes left.
Yes.
So, of course, it's The Undertaker. So by the time he gets in the ring, there's 2 minutes left. Yes. He's going to have a match with Skinner.
Yes.
Okay.
I wrote down every single thing we saw in this match.
Well, let's just get to the point, then you could do the moves if you want.
Sure.
So, literally, they get in the ring, the ref rings the bell. They go like 1 fucking second, and Vince goes, "We got to go to a commercial." So then you hear Lord Al go, Raw paid for by the following, and they do all this stupid ads and everything like that.
Impressions do suck.
My impressions are horrible. I couldn't do Lord Al. I'm too tired anyway. So they come back after all these commercial interruptions, and Skinner is like beating on The Undertaker. And now there's like 10 seconds left. And Vince goes, "We'll show you the outcome of this next week on Raw." And the show ended. Mm-hmm. Wait a second. This final scene of Skinner beating on The Undertaker, that's your cliffhanger? Oh, God. I've got to be back in a week to find out if The Undertaker could make a comeback against Skinner. It's not even like Undertaker's, clobbering him and he's hitting the ropes with a big clothesline and they go off the air. No, it's Skinner just getting shitty heat on The Undertaker and the show goes off the air.
When I was watching
what a shit show.
When I was watching the time countdown and you were seeing what was going on in the ring, I figured Undertaker was going to hit the ring, chokeslam him, and pin him immediately.
No.
But Skinner tosses him outside first thing. It's like,
they wanted us to wait a week to find out what happened in The Undertaker versus Skinner.
Well, everyone, I guess next week we'll see if The Undertaker...
How many moves did they do, Vinny, that we saw?
Here's what we saw. So first of all, they don't even see Undertaker's whole entrance. They do a commercial in the middle of his entrance. When we come after commercial, the match has already been going. We see exactly one clothesline by Skinner. Then we go to a commercial for Slim Jim and all that stuff with Lord Al. We come back. So we've seen one clothesline. Skinner does a punch, another punch. He dives off the apron. He had the alligator claw on the string.
He wants to jump off the apron and hit The Undertaker with something.
Well, he goes to choke him. It's
whatever.
A diving choke.
But he fucking lands on his back as hard as he can. Yes. Undertaker stumbles forward, goes head first into the fucking barricade on accident. It was not a plan. And then Skinner starts choking him or whatever.
Yes. So he nearly legit killed him here in this 10 seconds we saw. So clothesline, punch, diving choke with alligator claw, axe handle with alligator claw, and he threw him into the stairs.
How was none of this a disqualification? They could have just called for the bell for an alligator claw and then just did the rematch next week on Raw and ended it in one choke slam. Whatever, who cares?
So we have 2 things plugged for next week. The conclusion of Undertaker and Skinner. Oh. I guess the match will just go for 7 days. And also, World Champion Bret Hart versus one of the head shrinkers.
Yeah, they go, next week we're going to have a World Heavyweight Championship match. I was like, wow, a championship match on Raw. And Vince fucking says, Bret the Hitman Hart will face one of the head shrinkers. Guy doesn't even have a name. Just one of these guys is going to get a world. It's not even just a match. It's for the World Championship. That's on the poster. Bret Hart versus one of the head shrinkers. Who? Who knows? I'm spent.